Hello.
Hey, Alan, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I uh I definitely had some pizza between the recording of the first and second. It was the
You
same.
had pizza you had ordered?
No, I had we were at trivia last night, a couple buddies and myself, and we ordered some Domino's there. So we had some leftover. I had to scarf that down.
Where are you located? I forget.
North Carolina. So
North
I'm in
Carolina.
like Clemens and like Winston-Salem area. So yeah, it's been good. Well, just to give a quick recap,
Yeah.
if you haven't listened to or watched the first episode with Alan, we just kind of talked a little bit more about his story and changing careers and going from a producer of reality TV to kind of finding something where he was able to do something that makes himself and others happy and have a really kind of positive outlook on the day to day. So now we'll talk a little bit more about Crappily Drawn Pets. So, as we mentioned, you had some doodles and some art before, but when you were younger, did you always were you interested in art of some sort, or where did that
Yeah.
come from?
Yeah, I've always been really into drawing and painting. I never thought I was very good at it. Um, so when I, but I started to become aware of certain artists who trade in like more crude drawings.
Hmm.
There's one artist named David Shrigley.
Uh-huh.
Now he actually is a fine artist who went to like a top art school, but he chooses to draw in this way that's really kind of crude and funny, you
Yeah.
know. He's an amazing artist, and there are a few other artists like that that I just felt like, okay, well, I've always wanted to be an artist, never felt like I was good enough about it, and then one day I just decided to start cartooning, and I was like, well, what if I call myself Alan Wieder Bad Drawer? That way everybody knows what they're getting into.
Exactly. It's right there. It's there.
And
It's there in the
nobody
paperwork.
nobody needs to waste time analyzing my work about whether it's good.
Yeah.
I've already said it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but the Bad Drawer kind of took off as like a brand. And I before doing pets, I was drawing for about 10 years.
Hmm.
And then I had this one kind of big win, which is this gallery in LA
Hmm.
wanted to show my ex-girlfriend drawings. I had done
So what
15.
exactly was that? And also, did your ex-girlfriend, was she like, that's okay, do it? Or is it kind of like,
I changed everybody's names and identities.
okay, okay.
But a few people were like, "That's me, isn't it?" So yeah, I started doing I did these drawings of my ex-girlfriends. It was like definitely like the stickiest thing that I had done on Instagram. People were really into it.
Hmm.
And then I did a gallery show of all 16 portraits, and it was huge. Like
Yeah.
there were like 400 people there. Like people had to be
Wow.
turned away. I don't know how everybody found out about it. I didn't even really do much marketing. I think the gallery did. But
Maybe the
so
ex-girlfriends started to they all were like, well,
and
I need to go see this.
a few of them showed up to and there was this one girl that I was just like madly in love with in college,
Hmm.
and she saw my drawing of her and our story, because their story was exactly something very true.
Hmm.
She was like, "Am I Maya?" Her name's not Maya. Um,
Right.
but yeah, the girlfriend's piece definitely sort of put me on the map because it would
Sure.
show that I could tell stories. That was the thing. It's like it wasn't just portraits of the girlfriends. It was each one had its own narrative about what happened, how we met, what happened, what went wrong. The whole thing is predicated on like none of these have worked out, you know?
Right.
Um,
Kind of that cynicism kind of aspect coming in there too. Like, look at look at what happened. Like, yeah, and then you're able to convert that into art.
and then
How do galleries? Oh, go ahead.
go ahead, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was wondering, how do you monetize that, right? You're having people come out to your gallery. Do they like
Yeah.
pay, or how does that work? Or is it more of just getting, your foot in the door?
It was ended up being like a money-making event for the gallery because they sold food and uh alcohol.
Hmm.
So they ended up making, and I didn't get any piece of that. I just told them you can keep everything, just let me just show my work here.
Sure.
And so it was a good proposition for them. And then it definitely put me on the map as an artist because I started getting more queries to my Bad Drawer account, and more people were wondering about who I was. There were a couple of news articles written about the X's show. And And I felt like, my drawings of the girls were, I worked very hard on them, and they are what they are. They're sometimes some of them came out better than others. But what it did was it showed that I could make up for a deficit in my artistic ability with good storytelling. And I just was like, they're coming for the words, they're coming for the thoughts, they're coming for the experiences I'm sharing. They're not really coming because I'm, you know, a master illustrator and my work is brilliant, or even
Sure.
that. It's not even like either that, like, I have this friend, Brent Hayden in San Francisco, and he creates these incredibly abstract, beautiful paintings. I don't have that ability. I can't do that. So,
And that's
but
really a strength for you too, though, like knowing what you can and can't do and being very upfront and transparent about it. It's funny to
yeah,
kind of juxtapose your buddy that you mentioned earlier. You're like, well, he does crude drawings, but he was like trained in fine art, versus you're here like, I'm not a good drawer. I'm trying to draw some crude drawings. So
yeah.
it's
Well,
funny
there
to
was
think
just
about that.
then I did before, this was before Crappily Drawn Pets, I would draw animals. I was able to make things funny. And then over time, I got better at drawing. I'm definitely a better artist now than I was when I first started Bad Drawer.
Hmm.
I, you know, I'm not, I probably, a lot of people are like, oh, you probably would do really well in art, like if you took some art classes. And I'm like, yeah, I probably would. Like, I'd get better if I took some art classes because
Sure.
there are things that I don't know. I don't really know how to shade things or really draw anything in 3D. Everything is very flat.
Hmm.
But I understood that the storytelling was powerful, and that's what I've brought into Crappily Drawn Pets. Like, I'm drawing their animals in a way that's cute and fun, but what's really selling it are the captions.
Hmm.
I've got my work has tons of captions and little it has running commentary, and those are the things that people like. It's almost like the drawing itself is just a delivery vehicle for the ideas.
Right. Kind of like
Um,
the cartooning versus just having a drawing. I
yeah,
think, yeah, the words do make it fun because, as you mentioned, you're very into the storytelling aspect. And
yeah,
I think, I know, if, let's say I wanted to have my pet crappily drawn, right? I feel like you have some sort of dialogue where they tell you, some of their quirks or things
yeah,
that,
they do.
yeah. So what does that look like? Like, take me, let's say you're talking to a client.
Okay, I'll walk you through my process. So somebody is interested in buying a piece. I have basically two tiers.
Hmm.
And the first tier is what I call a multi-scene, which is the thing you probably have seen a lot of, which is
Hmm.
these kind of rambling, fun, chaotic multi-scene portraits of their animal in different situations and saying different things, and I'm trying to read the animal's mind. And I think I have a very good batting average from customers. They all think I captured the spirit of their animals really well.
Yeah.
So that's the multi-scene. And then but it can be quite expensive. So I have a cheaper offering, which is just a solo portrait. So I'll just draw your dog in a solo portrait, or your dog and their sibling, like a cat, or whatever, however many animals you have, and I'll
Hmm.
just do a solo portrait with one caption. Those are a lot faster to do, and they're also much more profitable because I'm not the multi scenes take a while. They take 2-3 hours to do.
Sure.
With the solo portraits, I could typically knock out in an hour or so. But yeah, so with the multi scenes, I asked for about a dozen to 15 photos. I try to counsel people not to send me anything with any redundancy. So it's like, don't send me two photos of your dog on the couch, like watching TV or
Yeah,
something.
have like a variety in it so you can kind
Yeah,
of
a
see different
variety of
angles.
different situations so I can get a sense of their personality. And then I asked for a list of quirks, and the quirks are what I really lean on for the storytelling. Like, if you can put words in their mouths that feel accurate, like I'm doing a piece now, and it's about a dog. This dog always sleeps on there's two dogs in the household, both girls, and she always sleeps on the other one's bed, like
Hmm.
almost like she gets like a sick pleasure out of it, like taking over her dog. The other one is kind of meek and doesn't know what to do. So I incorporated that quirk. Like, oh, she always sleeps on her sibling's bed. Well, that's kind of rude, but it's also kind of cute. Um, or there's lots of quirks. I mean, the quirks are endless. Like, people. it might be a particular food that their dog goes crazy for. Um, like my cat has this quirk with Taco Bell. Like it's like if I get Taco Bell, there's something just sets it sets off something in her, and she's
I
like,
would
"What?"
say the same applies for me. When I get Taco Bell, something is set off in me as well. So
I love
I,
Taco Bell so
I
much.
understand your cat in
But
that
she'll start
sense.
circling the bag and like wanting it, and I'm not gonna give her Taco Bell. I don't give her anything processed. I give her like good food.
Yeah.
But I might break off a piece of a chip or something for her just to
Mhm.
satisfy her, but she goes really crazy for it. So every pet has their own quirks. There's quirks that are common to all dogs. Like they all howl at ambulances. They all, uh, stare out the window and you're wondering what the hell's going through their mind. Like my cat stares out the window for hours. I'm like, what is she looking for? So all animals have certain traits, but the real fun I have is with the quirks that are very specific to the
Yeah,
animal. Those are always really, really fun to work with. And so yeah, so people send me a bunch of pictures, a bunch of quirks, and then I turn it into a drawing. I sometimes I'll ask for feedback if I feel like the people are like going to be finicky and I don't want to totally guess what they want me to put in the piece. I'll just be like, I'm not, oh, open to suggestions. So tell me what you want. And sometimes people will have suggestions, but most often not. Mostly they just send me the pictures and let me do my thing.
that's kind of nice. And what was the word you called the pets whenever, or what was, I remember
Oh yeah, ding dongs.
ding dongs. Yes. That was
Yeah,
funny.
that's a touchy issue.
I know.
I have to, you can have a lot of fun with a dog or a cat's perceived knuckleheadedness,
Mhm.
and it can be really great for comedy. And we all know what it's like when our dog is just like an idiot and it's funny. But I have to be very careful about how I handle that because some people don't. I have this word that I use for all dogs and cats and birds too, for that matter, and other animals, which is a ding dong. Somehow it's not that offensive to people because they can, yeah, yeah, my dog is a ding dong, like
Sure.
they accept that it's a dog. It's got a limited intellect and I don't want to call it stupid. I would never call a dog dumb or stupid, but I do call them ding dongs. But I have to be careful because some people don't like it. They don't like
I am sure. There's
they don't like that.
especially, yeah, I mean,
I
especially
have
with
to
the
feel them
pet
out first.
moms,
Yeah.
like that the whole, I don't know, people post about their dogs all the time and they have accounts based on their dogs and like I could see how they could be like, "Ah, I didn't really like that."
Yeah,
So
I've had a few people. Put ding dong in a few pieces and quite a few actually. Most of the time they love it. But there are people who are like, I wouldn't call my dog stupid. My dog's actually really smart. I'm like, is he really though?
oh no.
Is your dog really that intelligent? It's like dogs and babies. They're just not smart. But they are. I mean, I just watched you ever seen Inside the Mind of a Dog or Inside the Mind of a Cat?
Mm-mm.
You should watch it since you're in this field.
Yeah.
It's two documentaries. Each is a standalone doc. Each is about 2 hours, and they take you inside the mind of a dog. And but what they're looking at dogs that are like really super trained. So they're not like if your dog is like super trained and can find dead bodies at like where a building has collapsed, I wouldn't call that a dog a ding dong. Like if
Right.
that dog is smart and has some specific intelligence that's been honed, and but your average pet, well, my cat is a complete ding dong, a complete ding dong. I mean, I'll give you an example. She keeps meowing outside my son's door, and like his door is closed because I can't let her in there because she goes into his PC and she messes with all the wires.
Really?
So I have the door closed, so she can't go in there. But she thinks he's in there. And so
Ah.
she'll meow outside the door endlessly. And then I'll open the door and be like, he's not home.
Or
She really,
perhaps she's a secret genius and she is rewiring the PC and has a very distinctive plan. It's
yeah,
fun to think about that too.
maybe she's gonna get on Fortnite or whatever he plays. I
Right.
don't know. But yeah, but like I'll open the door, she'll walk in there, kind of confused to not see him there, and then she walks away, and then I close the door again, and then 2 hours later, she's meowing outside his door again. She thinks he's in there. I mean, they're just, you have to have fun. You have to have a sense of humor about your dog's silliness, and but I try to use words like derpy, silly, ding
Hmm.
dong. I avoid using words like idiot or dumb, because it feels a little more mean-spirited, I guess.
Sure.
Um, but I mean, literally every single pet that I draw is a ding dong. I mean, I look at photos of them and I'm like, they just have ding dong vibes, they're just giving ding dong. I mean, but maybe some people, but I have to be careful. I have to be careful. I also have to be careful with I do a lot of memorial pieces.
Mm,
A lot of people whose dogs or cats have recently passed, and they're in a place where the circumstances of their life and their life with their pet have been ruptured, and they want something. They want something to remember the dog or cat with, and they're at a particularly vulnerable place. And I have to be careful about how funny I make the piece sometimes. I'll usually ask them. I'll say like, "Are you cool? I mean, I know your dog is passed, but are you cool if I do some stuff to show how silly he was, And usually they're all totally on board. But I just have to be sensitive about that. There's some people whose dogs have passed, they're not ready for that. Uh,
absolutely.
but yeah, I always wanted to be an artist. I never thought I was very good at it. Then I just was like, screw it. I have this tattoo that says I'm just doing the best I can.
Yep.
And that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to do the best I can. And I know I have a winning formula with these pet drawings in a way that I never really had with any other style of drawing I did. And every day I wake up and there's 15 messages from people. Um,
That's gotta be pretty exciting. I mean, whenever I see like a Gmail notification on my phone, I'm like, new client perhaps, new booking,
yeah,
and I click
it
on it
is.
and
It's
it
really
may not, it might
exciting.
just be a promotion. I'm like, ah, shucks. But it's cool. It's really cool to have people interested in what you do and you're able to
Yeah.
create a product that you're proud of and you're happy with, and they are too.
Yeah, I think that it's been really, really fun, I mean, I actually for the first time in my life, I am a self-employed artist. I'm doing something really specific. It's not high-minded, it's not sophisticated, it's silly. But people love it. They just love it. And I've been written up in a couple publications now. One big one was The Hustle. I don't know if you read The Hustle, but
I've heard of it.
yeah, they're really it's an amazing business newsletter, and they did this feature like "What's your hustle?" And I submitted my bio, and they picked me, among
Cool.
other people too. But yeah, I know people are really digging it, and now there's just a couple questions like how big can this be scaled? I don't really know. I mean, I don't know. It's I'm already overwhelmed, so
Well,
you know,
I think like I don't know, just thinking about what you offer and like the potential scaling stuff. I mean, I think when everything you do is custom, that's harder to scale for sure,
yeah,
and it's what you enjoy too. But I think, as you mentioned, I think it was in last episode, just or maybe this, but talking about maybe having some merch. I think something
yeah,
that can be printed off with T Public or something like that, pet related, when you build the brand enough, I think that
yeah.
allows to scale because you only have so many hours in the day. Sure.
Yeah, and I'm getting some ancillary offers to do things like I'm doing the branding for a bookstore, and I'm doing the branding for a woman who makes homemade granola. I'm designing her logo. I'm branching out into other things. I have a couple friends who are really established. I won't say their names, but I have a friend who's a really established artist.
Mhm.
She's very successful. She's in Montreal, and she has like a team of people who help bring her ideas to life.
Wow.
And that would be great. I mean, she's an industrial artist. You have to just I'll send you her stuff if you're curious. But
Yeah, definitely.
but her stuff is really tough to build and complicated. And so she has a little factory of really talented craft people who can realize her vision. So I sort of see that as a possibility down the line.
How do you
I don't
apply
know.
that to drawings versus like crafting things?
What I would have to do is like train someone to draft in my style. Like I would do the finished product, but maybe they would take it 80% of, they would get it 80% there, and then I would come in and do the coloring and ink. But
And there's a lot of
I
trust
don't
with
know.
that too that you need.
Yeah.
Like having the right people around you is that's definitely important when you're starting to scale.
Yeah, I'm starting to think about it. And I have some thoughts on like what a workflow must look like. It's tough though, because everyone they want me to do it. But like you could look at these great huge artists like Damien Hirst or, you know, Francis Bacon or whatever, and they have like a studio with apprentices who are doing a lot of stuff. I'm like, well, that could certainly apply to what I'm doing, as long as what they get and as long as the finished product is like feels like it's me, or
Yeah.
that they bought into a certain brand and I delivered on it, then how it happens may not matter. I don't know though. I don't know.
It'd be awesome like a year from now we do another episode and you have Alan's apprentices and they're just hanging out in there.
Yeah, I would need somebody who's a good drafts person, but also like, at least at the outset, someone who is a really good personal assistant, who can handle all of the paperwork and, you know,
The
have
not so
everything.
fun stuff.
Yeah. Basically, because I have a lot of people, if they're not sure what the quirk should be, I have them fill out a questionnaire about their pet. And so like someone could just be there and be like, okay, here's Fred. He ordered a multi-scene drawing. Here's his questionnaire. Here are his photos, saving me time. Um, but yeah, it'll come.
Yeah, and I think you're learning your workflow, right? Like same with me. I have been pretty burnout with doing like I'll put out the long form podcast, but I've been pretty burnout with making those short clips. And that's, it's not guaranteed to bring viewers in, but it helps. If you put those out
Yeah.
on TikTok, YouTube's, Instagram Reels, like it makes a difference. Like I've noticed it. And so, when I get busy with other things, there's the thing of like, am I just being lazy right now? Or, and for me, um, being 24, I have so much left to learn about myself and everything. But
Yeah.
my 2026 kind of goal was to be a little bit more disciplined and do something fun every day. And so, I don't get bogged down with, hey, I didn't make these real clips or I didn't make these short clips. And they help. But at the same time, understanding that workflow and maybe, hey, like, is there someone who could potentially help with this or what does it
Yeah.
look like? Because you know how long it takes. And so then you can apply that to maybe bringing people on.
Yeah, like I could be doing reels and stuff of me drawing or the creative process, maybe let people in. I just don't have time. I don't have time to shoot that. I don't have time to edit it. I know a lot of pretty successful people on YouTube. They have a team, like someone like Joshua Weissman, who's got like 10 million or more followers he's a chef. I know he's got, a dedicated editorial team, producers, people who shoot. He's paying them all. I don't really have the means to do that just yet. I could bring on an assistant, but I got to figure out how best to use that person.
And yeah, and would it make sense? And like, because I mean, it seems like as well the ads that you're putting out, they're working too. So you're
Yeah.
spending a lot of money on that, but it is. So let me ask you this: when looking back, because I think you said you started really the Crappily Drawn Pets around April. When you first started, did you have kind of an inkling of an idea that it would be where it is now, seven
No,
or 8 months later?
no, I didn't. For one thing, when I started Crappily Drawn Pets, I started it with this ad. I crudely drew a couple of pets, and it said, I think I already mentioned this earlier in the interview, but like it said, do you want me to poorly draw your pet?
Hmm.
A lot of people got in touch with me, but most of them thought it was free. And I didn't quite know, like, well, okay, so if I charge money, are these people gonna come by? Far less, obviously, than people who think it's free. But I had to hone the product. Like when I first started doing this, I was drawing pets with funny captions, but I didn't actually have my format yet.
Hmm.
That's just like it's just something that happens when you follow through on an idea like, oh, so suddenly I have this multi-scene format. Nobody's doing this. I've never seen anybody on Instagram doing this. I have a lot of friends who draw animals too, and nobody's doing these little narrative bursts on a single page.
Is it
And
similar when you say multi-scene, is that similar to like kind of a comic strip or what is it?
kind of, yeah, I do four or five little scenes with their animal.
Hmm.
So, like if there was like, for instance, there was this one woman who thought that her dog was like plotting to take over the world, and he would stare out the window and kind of think about, as she thought that he was like imagining world domination.
Sure.
So I take that idea and I turn it into a concrete little drawing of her dog looking out. I had him like looking out at the world, and I had a thought bubble, and he in his mind that he was, who was it? I don't know who I can't remember, but it was like some kind of person who would want to rule the world. Um and so yeah, like people will I take those little details and I build little capsules basically. That's the best way I could describe it. I call them vignettes,
Hmm.
but yeah, and it was like the thing I mentioned earlier about this there's a one vignette in this piece I'm doing now of where one dog is sleeping on another dog's bed and kind of enjoying it and like making rubbing it in, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I have what other whatever. Oh yeah, for example, I did a piece the other night and this dog constantly had a rawhide, like but like a stogie,
Yep.
you know. And I did a thing where he thought he was Al Capone. And I drew Al Capone that in my style. I drew Al Capone with a cigar, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh, yes. I do a lot of thought bubbles, and I use song lyrics a lot too. If there's like some particular photograph that just I feel like would be great with lyrics. Like for instance, I just did this piece for the dog's name is Stevie Licks, named after Stevie Nicks.
Hmm.
And the dog's mom is kind of like a cool, really likes Fleetwood Mac, obviously, but like she's just like a cool artsy woman. And I used a lot of Stevie Nicks lyrics in the piece. Like I just wrote them above one of the capsules if it captured the moment or the mood. So yeah, the nobody's doing this. I mean, I imagine somebody new will start, but nobody's doing these little vignettes, and I feel like it's been my biggest selling point right now.
Definitely. Now, you had mentioned that your tier one, where it's the picture with the cartoon, tends to sell better. Did you start off doing those vignettes first and then realize that you needed to have another tier, or was that something you were offering at the same time?
That's a good question. So I started by doing just one vignette,
Hmm.
and it was fairly large on 11 by 14 paper.
What is a vignette? I know we've talking about cartoon strips and that kind of thing, but what's the difference between the vignette and your tier one kind
A
of?
vignette is it's like a little story made from a photo with a caption. Let me think if I can give you another example. Um, uh, like for example, like regarding the ding dongs thing. Sometimes I'll do something where it's like I have a photo of a pet standing in the yard and he's just staring into space at nothing in particular. So I'll just be like, oh no, okay, say someone say you have there's a photo of a dog that's staring up at the owner and clearly the owner is taking the picture, but
Hmm.
like the dog's like looking up urgently.
Yeah.
So I'll do something like, hey Ma, I have something a dialogue bubble in the vignette like, hey Ma, I have something super urgent to discuss. JK, I'm a ding dong and I don't know what discussing is.
Right.
So that's like a little vignette. It's like a little bit of storytelling. Um, yeah, like or if like I had this one piece that someone sent me a photo of their dogs on a boat, looking over the bow of a boat, like staring out at the sea and enjoying the breeze. And I put the song lyrics what is it called? Come on, pretty mama. Key
I
Largo.
don't know that
You
one.
know that? You're too young.
No.
I put like a beachy song. I
Yeah,
put like beachy, boaty song lyrics
that apply to kind of what's going in.
over the piece. Yeah.
Exactly. I think the concept itself of like dogs or cats having original thoughts or like what are they do, that in itself without the art or without, having this product with it is very funny to me. Like
So
you just look at your dog, you're like, what are you thinking?
like in a vignette, there might be a cat with like who's unraveled the whole toilet paper roll,
Mhm.
and I'll put the dialogue over it. I'll say, "I have unraveled the toilet paper, and I will do it again at my soonest opportunity." Like
Yeah,
that's the dialogue.
sure.
That's the thought bubble.
Versus the tier one or like the smaller product where it's a caption at the bottom. That's what kind of
Yeah,
separates
it varies. I do different things.
it.
And sometimes I just do a thought bubble with like a magical thought that the dog is having or the cat is having. For example, like I had this one shot. It was this dog running on the beach and looking just like it just was sucking the marrow out of life, just so excited and running along the beach. And then in the dog's head, I drew a horse running on the beach. So it almost imagined like it was this white horse. Like it's not it's that's the fantasy that the dog's having, that it's a horse.
Right.
But I did to sort of puncture it, I put like 15 miles an hour under the dogs running and then 40 miles an hour under the
I
horses
see.
running.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
very
kind of like,
funny.
yeah, not quite. It's nice that you think that you're a horse, but you're not. Um,
Funny.
so yeah, I do different formations. I guess you got to just kind of like look at my work and you'll see what a vignette is. And my pieces have like 4 to 5 of those little vignettes, and people just love them. They love them. And sometimes I'll do something just really sweet, like I'll have a picture of the cat, the owner of a cat, and then the cat like snuggling, and it's really cute. And I'll have the thought bubble be my ma greater than your ma.
Hmm.
Like sometimes it's not necessarily funny, it's just more cute.
Sure. And cute can be funny too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to kind of switch it up a little bit,
Yeah.
how has, you know, doing this art, which is different, very different than your original style. Hey, buddy, Mr. Cedric just came in.
Oh, there we go.
Come here, bud.
Cedric. Yeah,
But
he's really cute.
how has that changed you as a person? Have you noticed kind of differences in your life of how everything goes?
I definitely, I think most people who know me would consider me to be uh, a good guy, but not really into socializing.
Sure.
Um, and a bit of a curmudgeon, I guess. People would maybe think of me as that. Like for instance, I like people get married all the time, and I think I'm friends with these people, and I know, and I'm not invited. I think it's because I'm divorced and I'm viewed as kind of toxic. Like I might pervert their husbands or something, or make their husband have cold feet or something like that.
Yeah.
Women don't really like me near their husbands. They really don't because I'm single and I do whatever I want. And I was married, but as a divorced guy, I'm like dangerous. And I think that a lot of people like me, but my phone doesn't ring that much with social plans or, hey, I'm having a party Friday, come over. Very rarely. It's not that I'm a loser or anything. I don't even want to go. And
You're right.
I don't
That's
think
just
they
kind
know.
of, yeah, you're maybe slightly more introverted. You rather spend time hanging out with your cat and your turtle and doing your drawings, and you get a lot out of that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm at a point in my life where I like when, I like when girls like come over, but I don't really want to go on a date.
Sure.
I'm just kind of over it all.
Yeah.
But so I think people thought about me that way for a long time, that maybe I was just not that social, or that I was a little too myself, and sarcastic. I mean, for my artwork, obviously everything was just pure sarcasm, and everything. I thought everything was stupid, But so since becoming a pet artist, I've definitely noticed a softening, and my friends have too. I'm more I'm more friendly. Um, my relationship with my best friend. has improved incredibly. Because I used to make fun of him a lot, basically.
Hmm. And that
And
was kind of like what the relationship was, sort of.
now I don't really feel the desire to make fun of him, and I'm much more open to him and what he's thinking, and I don't feel like I need to tease him. My relationship with my parents has improved a lot. And I wouldn't say I have like a sunshiny disposition, but I'm more than I used to be.
Definitely.
And yeah, like for instance, like my friend, who I told you about, my best friend, he's like a Deadhead. He loves the Grateful Dead, and
Hmm.
for years I just made fun of the Grateful Dead and was like, this just sounds like it's the worst music ever. But I decided to actually listen to them. And I called him one day. I was like, I've been listening to the Dead today. He's like, what? It's just, you know, be, it had a lot to do with just me having a softer personality. He couldn't believe that I listened to them. And then he invited me to go see, do you know what the Dark Star Orchestra is?
Mm-mm.
They're a Grateful Dead cover band.
Okay.
He got tickets and wanted me to go. And I'm like, he couldn't believe it. He was like, I like this Alan way better.
That's cool. That is, it's really cool to hear that, and yeah, I'm very happy for you, and
Hey,
I'm excited to see this continue to grow. We have just a couple minutes left, so
yeah.
maybe if you want to kind of summarize kind of what you do and plug any social media or how people
Yeah.
can have their pets craftily drawn.
Everyone can find me on Instagram at either my main account, which is Alan H. Wieder.
I've been saying
W.
it wrong the whole time. My
That's
apologies.
okay. That's okay.
Waiter. Okay.
Alan H. Wieder, Wieder. That's my main account where you can actually see a lot of the old work that I referenced as well. Like I still have a lot of my funny, sarcastic pieces on there.
Mhm.
Uh, or at Crappily Drawn Pets, which is the new account that I have uh, just for the pet drawings. Crappily Drawn Pets.com or not .com, at Crappily Drawn Pets on Instagram. And yeah, come find me if you want a piece. Happy to do it. I think my rates are pretty reasonable. I certainly know a lot of artists who charge a lot more. But but yeah, it's I think it's fun, and you can just come to Crappily Drawn Pets and you can see what the value proposition is, what you're gonna get.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time, and
Thanks,
it
dude.
was a pleasure
I
chatting.
appreciate it. Talk to you soon.